Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we are doing the second installment in the Monsterverse series. This is the second one right after Godzilla, which I reviewed yesterday. If you haven't checked that out yet, please consider going to do so. I'm going to create a series for this. There's going to be a playlist so you can watch all of them in succession. And on Wednesday when it comes out, I will be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong in the morning. I don't know about the morning. Depends on if I have schoolwork to do or not, but we'll see. But yeah, today I'm excited to talk about Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island was released in 2017. It was written by Dan Gilroy, Max Borenstein, and Derek Connolly. And it was directed by Jordan Vogt-Roberts. This movie's really interesting. It kind of had the opposite problems that I think that Godzilla did. But essentially what happens here in Kong Skull Island is we see these research groups and these army men who are going to this mysterious island that has never been set foot on by humans, or so they think. And there they realize that there's a gigantic ape that is killing all the army people because they drop bombs on them. And they meet with a tribe that has been living there forever. And they meet an old World War II veteran. And they have to decide whether or not they want to, defeat Kong or defeat these other hideous monsters that are arriving. And also have to make sure that they make it out to the extraction point on time. This is a non-spoiler review, in case you guys were curious. That was basically it in terms of talking about the plot. That is farther than that point. I'm not going to announce who wins, or if anybody wins, or if they get home, or if they don't get home, or anything like that, because it is a non-spoiler review. This movie's interesting. As I mentioned before, it's kind of got the opposite problems I think that Godzilla did, where, we had a lot of Kong, and I think it was portrayed pretty well. I think that the special effects could have been a little better, but I was pretty sold that it was Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong does look like it increases the special effects by quite a bit. But what I think that Godzilla almost lacked in characters, this one kind of picks up. The issues that I have with this film, there's quite a few issues that I had. First, they had way too many characters, like way too many main characters. Everybody that went to the island was at some point considered a main character, right? We have these like half-built arcs for all of these characters, and I'm like, we don't need like any of these. Like, just focus on the two main characters and call it good. Even the third one, if you wanted to include Samuel L. Jackson, which I guess I would. We have a lot of minor characters that are trying to have their own character arcs, and it's like, this movie's 2 hours long. You can't have these many story arcs for these many characters that you want. It's not. You can't do it. It's just not gonna work out, right? And like, it's not like a huge deal or anything. Like, it's not the end of the world if there's a whole bunch of character arcs. But like, you have to make sure they're all fleshed out. And I'm not gonna say what happens, but there's a lot of issues with the endings of these character arcs. They just kind of go and then level out to like just kind of boring, mediocre side characters. While the main characters have really great story arcs that I really enjoy and I have a lot of fun with. I like Kong a lot. The special effects again were okay. I think the introduction to the clan was kind of weird and really long. Also, it was like a 15-minute introduction to a clan that we don't really care about. This movie could have been a little bit shorter, could have been like an hour 45 probably if you cut that part out and left everything else in. I think the fighting was pretty good. I enjoyed the story. I like the setup. The setup was pretty good. It could have done a little bit better because the timeline was really weird because we never really knew which war we were following. It was an interesting way to start the movie, I think. I'm not going to really mention exactly why, except for the fact that it felt like we were confused. Like, what time period are we actually starting in, and what are we supposed to know before entering this movie, which we never really find out. This is not a traditional Kong story. Most King Kong movies that I have heard of don't include Kong owning his own island, basically, and becoming a god. And it usually has Kong falling out with a lady. We don't see that here either. But overall, not a bad movie, just not a very good one either. I wasn't really caring about any of these characters. It felt like we had a lot of really weird like insect monsters for really no reason except to have them. They didn't really add anything to the plot because there was literally just one of each of them, right? Like, alright, slight spoiler. And really, it's not a spoiler. Slight. Okay, it might ruin the surprise just a tad bit, okay? There's a gigantic spider. And I hate spiders with a fucking passion. Oh, pardon my French. Oh, I apologize. With a passion, okay? I hate them. And I wasn't really scared about it because it was just really big and really didn't see its face very much. But it was just one gigantic spider. And then it's gone, and we never see another one. And it's like, there's not just one spider on the island, right? Like, what is this? I felt like, again, it shows that the consistency between each of these characters isn't great. Like, each of these monsters should have a really cool, interesting reason to be on the island. And there should be multiple of them. There's not going to be just one spider on an island. Like, we understand why Kong is the only one on the island. I'm not going to say why because it's a spoiler, but we understand why he's the only one. But then there's these giant weird things. There's like, why is there just one gigantic spider or just one gigantic log monster? And it's like, or one octopus. It's like, we should see multiple of these at multiple times throughout the movie. We just don't. Which kind of made the movie seem inaccurate at times, right? Because we know why there's only one Kong. But when we see that there's like a giant spider, our first brain's gonna be like, there's a lot of these things. There's not. So it's like, it felt really, really dumb and honestly kind of anti-climactic in terms of the big fight at the end. It's like, oh, well, that was kind of straightforward. Let's go ahead and talk about the acting, because I think the acting is really great in this film. Starting with Tom Hiddleston as James Conrad. I really like Tom Hiddleston, but that's because I really like Loki. I've never seen Tom Hiddleston in something that's not Loki yet, and this is great. Wow. He's even better in this than I think he is in Thor, and the Avengers and such. He's really great as this character. He's just like this really cool person who can like shoot things, and he's a tracker, so he can track humans, and he knows a lot about science and not science, I guess, but geography and such. And he's really, really cool, and I like him a lot. I think Tom Hiddleston's great. I'm excited to see more of him in the future. I like him a lot, and he was really, really good in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson as Preston Packard. I didn't really like his character very much. It felt very Sam Jackson, which is fine. I like Sam Jackson, but like, why does every Sam Jackson character have to be Sam Jackson? Why can't they all be like different in any way, shape, or form? Like, I feel like in almost every movie that he's in, he's just this big guy with guns who's like, I'm gonna kill everything. And it's like, dude, just calm down. Like, have a cool backstory or something, please. I was really bothered by the fact that he was just kind of a main character that was just very straightforward and had no depth to him at all. There was no depth. In every situation, you knew exactly what Samuel L. Jackson was going to do because you've seen another movie with him in it. And it's just like, can't there be a surprise where he's like, oh, but I have children. Would I want my children to see me like this? And it's like, oh, he doesn't care. It's like, come on. Like, be something different, please. Again, I don't think Sam Jackson was bad. It's just he's so typecasted nowadays that it's really, really troublesome. Brie Larson as Mason Weaver. I think she was good. I don't really like Brie Larson in general, especially in Captain Marvel. I think she was fine. I think they could have had basically any woman play this, and it would have been just as fine. Because while she's a main character, she has like no lines. There's like no reactions, and it's just her being a photographer, which is like great for the story. I think it's great that we had a photographer. I think it was important. Did it have to be Brie Larson? I don't think so. Like, if you put like Scarlett Johansson there, or like Elizabeth Olsen or whatever, would have had the same effect, which is a problem because we need actors that can portray that have deep backstories. And this person, no backstory again. We just have them starting out, and it's like, oh, here we go. And it's like, but what about them? I want more arc. And again, they focus so much on having everybody have really interesting like end arcs and like middle arcs and so many characters that they forgot that we're not going to feel like we care about them if there's no backstory. It's not going to happen. Which brings me to John C. Reilly as Hank Marlowe, who had a fantastic backstory and is therefore a great character. I really liked his character a lot. I'm not going to tell you what happens because it's spoilery, but I've said in my previous videos that with John C. Reilly that I think he's underrated and he doesn't have a lot of big parts, and this is one that I really liked him, and he's finally able to have a big part, and he's really, 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 really cool, and I liked him a lot in this movie, and I had a great time watching it from beginning to end with this guy. Like, honestly, really cool backstory, really good writing here, and I really liked it. But overall, Kong Skull Island was kind of a disappointment in terms of a movie that I was looking forward to. I liked it a lot. I had a good time watching it. The issue I just had was I was not connected to almost any of these characters. The arcs were all bad. There was a lot of characters and a lot of monsters that had no meaning. And so I'm hoping these are all fixed in Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm assuming it will be, because if there's anything other than Godzilla and Kong and Godzilla vs. Kong, they kind of mad. Although I guess they could have, because maybe there's another monster and they have to unite to fight the big monster. But that kind of be false advertising in terms of Godzilla vs. Kong. But I suppose we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and give Kong Skull Island a B. That's going to do it for me today. Tomorrow, tune in, because we're going to have Godzilla King of the Monsters tomorrow. I haven't seen it yet. I'm really excited to watch it. Comes out tomorrow. And then Wednesday, when it comes out, we will have Godzilla vs. Kong, as well as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 review. Thursday, Beautiful Boy. And Friday, we are going to have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So I'm excited to watch that one. And also, Nobody comes out, so I'm hoping to be able to watch that. But depends on if it comes to video on demand, which I don't think it's going to. But we'll see. But that's enough for me today. Please consider subscribing. It's a huge help. And as always, keep watching movies and television. Stay educated. And I'll see you guys in the next video.